Welcome, everybody. Glad to have you for the October Inspiration Hour. Excited to have you all here. Today, we are going to be talking about the Reimagining Rural program. We're going to talk about, we have 3 communities lined up to share with us their experience in applying and what has happened since they've participated in Reimagining Rural. We've got some great stories lined up for you. So we're going to do that. First, let me give you a little bit of a background and an introduction in case you're new to us here at the Inspiration Hour and Reimagining Rural. So my name is Tara Mastel, and I work for Montana State University Extension, and I'm in the Community Vitality Program, one of our 4 program areas in Extension. We work with rural community vitality, and we do Big Sky Big Leadership, where we help our leaders in our small towns gain skills to be more effective in their communities. Today, I am joined by my co-host, Jennifer Anderson. And Jennifer is joining us from the road. She's headed to the Main Street Conference that is being held in Great Falls. So hopefully she can pop on here. Jennifer Anderson is the extension agent in Rosebud and Treasure counties in Forsyth, and she's hosted Reimagining, well, it was her brainchild from the get-go. She's hosted Reimagining Rural in Forsyth, let's see, 3 times now. Just a word about Inspiration Hour. We are moving the time frame for Reimagining Rural back to early 2024. So instead of having a Reimagining Rural session in 2023, we decided we'd have a monthly webinar designed for rural leaders and volunteers to help them solve the problems that they're working out. Give them some ideas on the first step, what they can do next on some of these pressing issues. And this session is being recorded, and all of our sessions have been recorded, and many people have been watching them. Sharon is going to post in the chat the link where you can see all the recordings there. So we have this YouTube channel as part of Extension, which is awesome. You can see all of our past webinars, and this webinar is being recorded, and we will send it out to all the people that have been registered, and we will also post it on that YouTube channel. So we'll send the recording out. Usually that happens in the morning. Jennifer, if you're ready to go, do you want to share a little bit about, just give a little intro on Reimagining Rural?
Tara, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great, because I'm having problems. I am on the road today. I just arrived in Great Falls and am here for the Montana Downtown Conference and the Montana Main Street program. So I'm happy to be here again with everybody across the state that is participating in Reimagining Rural. And I think this session in particular is a wonderful opportunity to hear from communities across the state that have been greatly invested and impacted by the Reimagining Rural program. And so I think when we started this, one of the things that we really wanted to do was to provide communities with some hope for their future, people who love their towns, and give them an opportunity to see their community through a different lens. And so this is, like I said, is a great chance to hear all the good stuff that is happening in our communities that have participated in Reimagining Rural. So just really excited to hear from Cut Bank and Harlow, and even share a little bit about what's happening in Forsyth. So thanks, Tara.
Yep. Thanks, Jennifer. I can't even tell you how many webinars and meetings I've attended from my car these days. We're taking hybrid work to a new level here in Montana. All right. Well, so as Jennifer said, today we have folks from Cut Bank, and we're going to hear from Mandy Reed, who from Harlowton and Wheatland County, and then Jennifer is going to talk a little bit about what's happened in Forsyth. And then we're going to answer questions. So our speakers are going to talk they're going to have about 10 minutes, and then we're going to have take questions from the audience if you have any questions for these folks. So I'm very happy to introduce Lisa Klein and Jessica Seifert, who are from Cut Bank, and they have done amazing things in Cut Bank following participation in Reimagining Rural. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Lisa and Jessica.
You can go first.
Okay. So hello, everybody from Windy Cut Bank. So we have participated in Reimagining Rural, I believe, in 2 different sessions. And it's as Jennifer is saying, just given us an opportunity to reevaluate what's going on in our community, understand what's going on in our community, and really embrace some revitalization so that and the mantra of Reimagining Rural, that we're not what we used to be, but we're still something pretty great. So what came out of our first session of Reimagining Rural, we learned a lot about what was going on statewide, learned about branding, that those grant monies were held over until we got a branding program off the ground, which happened this fall. And we're actually going to be meeting with the marketing firm on November 1st to learn what they've learned about our community. And that's super exciting because Cut Bank is a really great place and we want more people to know what we have to offer. And honestly, I didn't even really know what branding was until I got involved in Reimagining Rural. And then for the second year, one thing we learned was that we have a lot of newcomers in our area. We want to get them involved. We want people within the community who have been here a long time to understand how they can become involved. So we used our grant money to plan the Cut Bank Community Involvement Expo, which was last spring, and had a group of nonprofits. We had a meal, great community support there. We learned a lot from that, and going forward, we want to do that again and do something a little bit different. So those were kind of the big committee projects. And from a personal standpoint, what I really learned was that you don't have to have a committee to make big changes. You can identify a need, find your people, find your resources, and start making some changes that are very, very, very impactful, and little things start to mean a lot. We have a lot of flower pots in town, for example. They were scattered here and there, poorly planted, not taken care of. So we gathered a group. Jess will talk about First Friday. A friend of mine and I did a First Friday planting class. Those became our plant caretakers. That was great. We've done murals around town. You can see the art behind us. We have an art gallery in town now. So Reimagining Rural really encouraged me personally, and I think a lot of other folks as a whole, to identify needs and figure out how you can just go out and start doing things. And it's been great. And the community's, I think, feeling a sense of pride that had been lacking for a long time. And we've loved learning what other communities are doing.
So, do you want me to?
Yeah,
right.
You can jump in.
All right. I'm Jessica Seifert. I was part of the Reimagining Rural team here in Cut Bank for both sessions. And I think takeaways that I was able to use in the area of the farmers market. I'm the farmers market manager in Cut Bank, and looking at what our needs are and the data that Ben Winchester shared with everybody, the data that, excuse me, the extension has shared with us was really vital in kind of revitalizing the farmers market and looking at making the market a rural market. I mean, we have folks that travel 40 miles to sell at the market. We have folks that are traveling 40 miles to do county business and attend the market as a customer. Really looking at tapping in, how do we reach those folks in such a rural area? But the data that was shared, I think, was really beneficial to all of our programs. Mm-hmm. And you know, for folks that are wanting to apply for the program, you can really, ideas will bounce through your meetings that might not come to you until afterwards. And so I think it's really important that you know, stay open to those ideas, and things probably aren't going to come to you right off the bat. The ideas are probably going to need to be something that are manifested later on. And so, be open to all the information that's shared with you, and don't be overwhelmed, because I think a lot of us were looking at, how can we improve our community? And there's so many ideas out there. It can be really overwhelming. So, take some time to let things kind of come as they will. But the farmers market, there's some pictures there. We hosted our first farm to table dinner where all of the ingredients came from the Golden Triangle. And that was a way just to invest in our vendors from the farmers market, and then invest in some of our very small egg producers in the region. So there you see the spread. The brewery hosted us at the dinner, and it turned out really, really well. Really proud of what came out of it and how we were able to support some of our local producers, because, as we know, in Montana, we're usually behind the trends a few years, and in northern Montana, we can be a little bit further behind that. And so being able to host something like this was kind of a big challenge, and definitely worth it. You can see we had a local group from Kevin come, and just a group of folks that like to play. And then the boys you see there are just members of a local 4-H group that served dinner. So it was a kind of small town, but yet kind of a fancy dinner for Cut Bank, and had a great time. And then now you see pictures of what is called Cut Bank First Fridays, and I'm kind of the organizer behind that, looking at, again, from the data shared through Reimagining Rural, how can we encourage and promote the quality of life in Cut Bank, and how can we promote the arts? So you see a class here, one was pinecone flowers and one was making earrings. So the First Friday classes are just a way to maybe pull some culture and pull some of the arts into Cut Bank and give folks something to do, because I know in rural communities, it's, sporting events, high school sports, or the bar, or kind of not sure what else.
Sit on the couch and watch Dateline on Friday night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's just giving folks an outlet. And honestly, I would say a lot of the attendees to First Fridays are a lot of the newcomers. They've come from larger communities where they have those opportunities. So, we're starting to get a greater mix of newcomers and, residents that have been here a long time. But I think the turnout's been great so far. And I think folks are buying in. And so it's becoming something to do it's just the first Friday of the month. But some things to take away is that, these ideas can come after your Reimagining Rural sessions, and they don't cost money. First Fridays is a zero budget program. The instructors charge a fee, and, they take in the fee to cover materials and whatnot that they need to teach their class. But then 20% of that fee also goes to the host business. So not only are the instructors benefiting, but our residents, our businesses, because it's pulling folks into a space they may not have visited before. And then it's bringing folks to downtown Cut Bank on a Friday night. That is a little bit different characteristic from what we've had. So a lot of these things you can do without a big budget, or there are things that you can get started without a budget. And as time progresses, you might see a need for some funding along the way. But there are things that through Reimagining Rural, the networking, I think, is so important between groups. And you can see what other towns are doing. So the networking is also pretty important. And it's letting everybody know that we're not alone in this, that we're facing the same issues, and, other communities are just, they're facing those issues with a little bit different twist, which is great.
I think too, it gave us the courage to push back against just some negativity.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's been great.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. That's wonderful. Can you talk a little bit about applying? What did you think about the application process?
Well, Carrie handled that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Carrie did. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I think the application process, certainly is not, Carrie took
I
care of
signed
it.
it.
Yeah, but I think it is something that it's definitely not daunting for those communities out there that, yes, it's a formal application, and yes, there are reasons for that, but yeah, I think it's pretty simple. I apologize. Carrie just handled it.
Yep, that's great. Yeah, and Carrie is Carrie Lewis,
Yep.
and she is the extension agent there. So your extension agent might be interested in being involved or might have the time or the capacity. They might not, and you don't have to have an extension agent involved. There's almost half of communities have not had their extension agents, so you don't have to have them involved. Okay, we have a question. Lisa Terry, who is another extension agent that you have in Glacier County, she's saying folks from Browning have been invited today and are interested in starting a group there for some beautification projects. What advice would you have for them?
You know what? I think that the biggest piece of advice is just look for something that along the lines of beautification that are kind of low dollar, or something that in the community that you think, oh, that's really a nice. Or a lot of our main streets have empty businesses, and right across the street from us is a mural that we just got permission to cover over an empty business, and artist from Browning painted a beautiful mural on it. But I have to give a shout out to Browning and the Res Monkeys, because what's happening over there has gone a long way toward beautification, with cleaning up lots of trash and mowing and banning plastic bags. And I'm through Browning once a week, and on my way up 464, and I have to say I've never seen Browning looking so good. So you're well on your way.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I do think, and Jennifer Anderson can chime in on this. That is really, I mean, our experience working in communities is having those small wins. It really does build the excitement and builds the momentum, and it builds the confidence in the people that are doing these things. And along the way, you build some, you get to have a good working group, and then you move on and move on to the next thing, and maybe that's a bigger thing, or maybe not. But in any case, it's the small wins that give everybody a little
That is
excitement.
so true. That is so true.
Yeah.
Tara.
Yeah.
Oh, hi. I switched from my technical difficulties this morning being on the road. So I switched from my laptop to my phone. So I can hear everybody a little bit better. But to speak to what Lisa's question, or about the folks in Browning. If Browning, so if you all are thinking about joining up next winter, this coming January, and doing this series this January, one of the first things, it sounds like you guys have some great groundwork and you're working on some fantastic projects, and you're building positive momentum. One of the things that I would highly recommend is to kind of inventory your community and jot down who the folks are that are making these great things happen, and make sure that you invite them to the series and bring them into the fold, so you all can sit together in the same location and go through the series and hear from the other communities that are doing things, and hear from the speakers. And then you can create a place or a space to kind of start some conversations and maybe inspire you to continue doing what you've already started. So I think that, to me, I think with any community, and we kind of built that into the application process, is to really it's a kind of a basic community development concept, is to inventory your community, brainstorm what's out there, who's out there, what kind of groups you have that might want to join forces on something like this, and get them to the table. Figure out a way to get them to the table, if it's food, whatever, but get them to the table so that y'all can be experiencing this at the same time.
Yep, that's a great comment, and we'll go through the application after our speakers. Mandy Reed is up next, but before Mandy, just before we get to you, I would like to, we have a question from Roger Hopkins, and Roger's been in touch before. Roger is in Columbia Falls, and he's saying our community is undergoing rapid change that is creating some negativity. I was interested in Lisa's comment about pushing back against negativity.
So can you hear me out there?
I can hear you.
Okay, so pushing back against negativity. So we have a community page called Cut Bank Community Page. It has about 2,000 members now, and I'm the admin on that. And so one way I push back against negativity is if people start to complain, especially if they don't live in Cut Bank, I just kick them off. So don't know if that's appropriate, but for every people think, oh, Cut Bank it's a dirty town. I don't think it's a dirty town. Let's find a way to make it look, put on the suit. Once you look better, you start feeling better. And I think that's one of the biggest ways to put, kind of push back against the negativity is really taking those cosmetic things count. And I know Columbia Falls is a super, super cute place. Another thing too is that be really, really welcoming to your newcomers, because I think I'm a lifelong Montanan, and I think that we have to get out of the mindset that newcomers are outsiders, because that can be so damaging and divisive to a community. And when we had our rebranding meeting the other night, there were probably 50 people there, cross demographic, very eclectic group of people, have been here a while, not been here a while, and it was very kind and very respectful. But do whatever you can to bond newcomers and folks who have been there for a while. And if people are talking about garbage, in a negative way, what can we do to clean it up? And just really do what you can to put a positive face on your community, but look at the issues too that need to be remediated, those, and honor those as well. What do you have anything to add to that, Jess?
I think, we heard the comment at one of our meetings that they're just Band-Aids. All you're doing is putting Band-Aids on. And, I think you're going to hear that across your communities. And I think one way to help squelch that is to invite those folks in and to be a part of, be a part of change, so that they see more than just, a Band-Aid or a cover up, that there's meaning behind it. I think it's interesting because there is the negative feedback. And I think a lot of it is just because folks don't know. It's not that they dislike what is going on. It's just, they might not know about it. And maybe they feel like they were passed up or not included. So I think it's trying to include as many folks from as many different demographics as you can. But we all know that you're not going to make everybody happy, and that everybody is going to appreciate what you're doing. So, you kind of just pull your boots on and you go for it. And, if there are folks that don't like it, they might not like it. And maybe it inspires them to do something different, and that can help the community. So I think we've seen a lot of that too, is that there've been a lot of different folks that have picked up some of the pieces on their own account, which is really great.
Yeah.
Oh, those are such great comments. Thank you so much, both of you, and thanks for the question, Roger. My apologies. My internet is really struggling today, but I think the comment that you had, Jessica, about including people, that's just really a core piece of what we were hoping. And I think it's part of what the magic of Reimagining Rural is. The more people you bring in that they don't normally cross paths, it creates an environment where you get lots of different perspectives, and that creates stronger ideas and outcomes. Okay, we need to move on and get going with Mandy Reed. So Mandy is joining us today from Harlowton in Wheatland County, and thank you, Lisa. Lisa has to get on the road. Mandy Reed is joining us from Harlowton. She is the extension agent there. She does all the things. She's a single agent in her county of Wheatland County. And Mandy has done Reimagining Rural twice. She did it the first year and then just the last year, 2022. And she has had some really great outcomes from that, from her from her community. So I'm excited and thankful to have Mandy Reed here to talk a little bit about the experience of Harlowton in Wheatland County. Thanks, Mandy.
Thanks, Tara, and thank you for inviting me. It's always fun to talk about what your community is doing and reimagining rural, especially because it's such an inspiration. It's just a different environment where you get to talk about what's really working. So I'll share just a little bit about our story. Last year when we came together, we had a really good turnout. I think we had mostly 8 people came to all of the sessions. And what was really unique about it is over half of them had participated. They were alumni from our Big Sky, Big Leadership program. So I think that kind of directed our dynamics a little bit. We also had a really diverse group. I probably had, as far as like just the way, the perspectives of how they see our community, how they see the world, probably our most different people came to the table and had these wonderful conversations, and were able to engage around the data that was shared and thought about it in such a thoughtful way that it really made them reflect on our community. But I would say one of the things that I wanted to share, so we were, by the end of it, by our last meeting, the group was so excited to talk to each other. They were so excited about what they were hearing and the other people who were sharing their ideas. But then they were like, okay, let's just mute it because we have so much to say. And so that was very fun to see that they really were wanting to come together in that space and brainstorm for our community. So I was listening to the group before me talk, and I would absolutely echo being open to new ideas, because the ideas that you come up with in that moment might not be the ideas that carry forward, or they might evolve and be flexible. So that's one thing that we definitely learned. So I would say that our community identified kind of 3 major needs, themes of things that we could work on through Reimagining Rural. And one was some public art. So murals, we have a lot of local artists, but we don't really have any place to showcase that. One was, of course, our housing issue. And then the other one was a need for affordable, accessible family recreation in the winter that didn't revolve around people sitting in the stands watching other people recreate, but actually that chance for everybody to have something to engage in, and especially things that didn't center around maybe the bars or that environment. So we identified those 3 areas. And we identified that there was a group that was moving forward with the housing. And there was another group who was talking about forming a gallery co-op. And so we thought, okay, there's people who we think are going to address these other 2 needs. Let's address the family recreation. And so that was really what this group centered on. And one of the people had recently purchased the Armory Fitness Center. And so we thought, well, this will be a great partnership. And, you know, we can really just come together around this and make a really big impact and a difference there. So where I would say we need to be flexible and open is between the time that we kind of decided, yes, we're going to move on that. One of our members got a new position, is working remotely now from like 25 or 30 miles away. One of our people is, got a different job. Somebody else, their family had a family illness. So everybody dispersed, and suddenly dealing with that issue didn't feel like something that we could, like, I'm an introvert and don't want to leave my house in the winter. So I was not the one to take the lead on creating fun family activities in the winter time. So we kind of recognized that we might not be best suited to address that need anymore, which was totally okay. It's still something that other people are working on. And so the other thing that happened that was very cool is the group heard the speakers from East Montana talk about their housing co-op and got really excited. And so then they went home and told their families about it. And so then they were all connected. So then they were talking to each other about it and started coming into my office wanting more information about this housing co-op and who was doing it and how could they start it and how could they wanted to do this in our community. And so we were able to shift focus and support that group that wanted to move forward forming a housing co-op. And so interestingly, we just had a meeting yesterday with our co-op, and we were talking about we probably need to have some sort of a maybe a meeting or a gathering or at least a coffee on the 7th, November 7th, because that was our first meeting to form our housing co-op and share this vision and get started. And we are very close to having all of our paperwork ready to send in so that we can start gathering subscriptions to form our housing co-op with this really beautiful mission and vision for our community and making a difference. And so some of the things that I really love about this project the most, I guess first let me go back. I really wanted murals in our community. That was my pet project. So, but I am really excited to support this project also and let another group take on community beautification that way. So one of the things that's really, really cool about this housing co-op is that it is more volunteer led. So I am a member of the board, but I am in no way, shape, or form like the chairman of the board. I am just a regular member, and I provide a meeting space. So that is really cool to me because it's something that the community itself was inspired, and I'm not like pushing them. I am able to support them. The other thing that I think is so cool is just the way the group came together and their vision for what we're doing is really about identifying and maintaining and preserving the homes that we have in our community that maybe haven't had the attention and the resources to renovate and restore and take care of. And so it's not about putting in right now, I mean, we've left ourselves open, but it's really about addressing the homes that are in our community for the people that are in our community. And so that is really the heart of this group. We've been able to connect with a lot of people across the state and a lot of resources. So as opportunities arise, we feel like we're in a good spot to be able to identify what's the best way to approach different things. But I would say that that vision absolutely 100% came out of the inspiration of Reimagining Rural, the ability of everybody to be flexible, and then that group's willingness to come together with a really diverse group and have really awesome conversations and really honest conversations around the data and then what was shared and how we were able to interact. The other thing that's kind of cool, and you don't always see this in small communities, is people get really attached to their ideas. I mean, I also get really attached to my ideas. And so for this group to strategically be able to say, okay, that's not what we're going to be able to do anymore, and to let that go and let someone else take that on in a really graceful way without it causing some conflict was also really awesome. And I think that had a lot to do with the way the program's structured and the way the conversations happened. So yeah, everybody was just really excited to talk to each other and share their ideas. And I would say the inspiration was definitely what we needed. So that's a lot in a few seconds without hardly a breath. Does anybody have any questions?
Thanks, Mandy. Yeah, does anybody have any questions for Mandy about what happened in Harlowton? Now I moved, hopefully getting Vaughn Zenko is on, and he said, yay, Baker's housing co-op must be going along too. So happy that you're moving along in Harlowton. Okay, Mandy, I don't think we have any questions for you, but I appreciate you hopping on and telling us about the things that that were sparked or that came about as after you participated in Reimagining Rural. So thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, yeah. Great. Okay. Now, next, I'm hoping that we can have Jennifer. Let's see how her internet is doing today. I think all the wind that we're feeling across the state is messing with our plans we've got.
So can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, well, for sure. So I can tell you, driving up from Forsyth this morning, we did not have any wind until I hit Great Falls. So imagine that. The minute you pop into Great Falls, it gets windy. So anyway, super excited to be here again. Helping with Reimagining Rural. It's been such a labor of love for the last few years. And I love hearing from other communities about how they've been inspired to do great things in their towns. So I've been on the planning committee, so I've been on that side of things since the beginning, and helping create this project and getting it off the ground. I've also been the facilitator, the organizer for our local group in Forsyth. And so just happy to share a little bit about what has happened in Forsyth since we started Reimagining Rural. So Forsyth is the county seat for Rosebud County, which is in the southeastern part of the state. For those of you who don't know, we have participated all 3 times in Reimagining Rural. And each time I think our group came away with a different with more. So they were inspired each time we did it just a little bit more to up their game. So when we did it the first time, we really heard the message loud and clear from Ben Winchester. And I think the other communities heard that as well, about inviting the newcomers, and people are wanting to move to your town for what it offers right now. So what we took away from that first session was to host a newcomers event, which for me, being pretty much a lifelong resident of Forsyth and Rosebud County, we hosted a newcomers event, and it was shocking to see. We had about 75 to 100 folks there. 50 of them were newcomers, had moved there to Forsyth in the last 5 years. Fascinating to walk into a room and not know 3/4 of the people there. So eye-opening experience. We asked them why Forsyth, and we just heard all this love and goodness for Forsyth. So that in itself was very inspiring. From that, we moved into the second series, and we learned what we picked up moving forward was what we really gravitated to is what Shoto was doing and their whole rebranding process. So our group, even though like Mandy's and Harlow, there was many different ideas being brought forth and many different projects that we wanted to work on, but we all kind of coalesced around the idea of creating a new brand and identity for Forsyth, and that was the first place we needed to start. And so from that, we the second and third time we went through the project, we focused in on creating a rebranding effort. I'm happy to say that led us into applying to be a Montana Main Street program, because once we get the brand in place, we have a lot of beautification projects that we want to tackle, but we need the brand to be able to do that, and some marketing and tourism things. And so we were able to apply to become a Montana Main Street program. We were accepted. With the help of the Reimagining Rural funds that we received, the grant funds, we leveraged those funds that we received. We also applied for local grants to our local community foundation, and we were able to come up with $10,000 match. And so we received a $50,000 grant from Montana Main Street program right off the bat, and we're able to put that money towards a long range plan for our marketing and rebranding effort. And so one of the things that led us to also with the rebranding was we created a branding survey. So we implemented a branding survey. I think we had over 300 responses for Forsyth. It was a very useful and helpful instrument and tool resource in developing the brand. Right now we're at the stage of we've contracted with a marketing company who is working on the brand development for us. We hope to have that in back by the beginning of November. So moving forward, we also then decided because we were like a loose knit group of radical community members who wanted to just do great stuff
And once the $50,000 came into play, we realized that things were a little bit more serious, and we needed to formalize the group. And so one of our volunteers is leading this, and we are forming a community development corporation nonprofit. We've done our articles of incorporation and our bylaws, and we've sent those off. So long range, the vision for this group is to tackle much larger community vitality projects. So the branding project is probably just the first step in this. They're looking at housing, and they're looking at recreation and trails. And I don't think that there is a topic that is not on the table with this group. So it'll be really interesting to see how this moves forward. But definitely this all came about largely in part to Reimagining Rural and being inspired by other communities across the state, and also the speakers that we had. Because I think, and the other group said this too, we learned we didn't need to have a formal group to be able to jump in and start doing things. We learned that we needed to be open to newcomers and invite the newcomers to the table because they were moving into our community, and they were valued members of our community. We learned to take some risks and just really dive in and see what we could do. We also learned a lot about other resources and that are available out there on the state level that I think we didn't really have the knowledge of before. And so we really took that, like, well, if Shoto can do it, we can do it too, kind of attitude in moving forward. So altogether for Forsyth as a community, it's been a wonderful experience for our group as well.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. If anybody has any questions for Jennifer, I see a great comment from William Spotted Eagle and Vaughn. Oh, here we go. Here, Jennifer, here's a question for you. How did you identify all the newcomers? We've tried similar ideas, but had poor attendance.
Sure. So what we did is we worked with our city, and they went through the list of city water hookups. And then also we worked with our school. They would not release the information of who were new enrolled students, but they would they agreed to send the information out. So and then we reached out to our realtors, and they had a pretty good understanding of who were new folks that had bought homes. So through all those channels, and then of course the regular, like the radio and flyers and social media and things, was how we kind of targeted, were ways that we thought we could target newcomers.
Excellent. So here's a comment from William Spotted Eagle. He said in Browning, they clean the community as a way of giving back and cleaning up the St. Michael's Cemetery. And now they have more projects in the town of Browning. Very interesting, and they'd like to bring this to Browning. So that's just awesome to hear. We love to have you. If you have any questions or anything, reach out. You've got a great resource there with your local extension folks too. Can I just ask you all three communities, you've all talked about being inspired by other communities across the state. That's pretty heartening to hear that, because was it the Reimagining Rural, like the speakers in the series, the actual part of that, or was it connecting with them afterwards? Which part of that you get that inspiration from these other communities across the state?
I think for us, it's hope. You know, I think a lot of our communities, we're in that stage of, you know, either we do or die. Either we're going to move forward into the future, or we're going to blow away in the dust. And it might not be that dramatic. But I think a lot of our rural communities are just at that crossroads of, what do we do? How do we keep the folks that are living here? How do we keep those folks here? How do we bring a lot of folks back to our community? And I think a lot of the data is showing that you know, those that are from the community are moving back because of that quality of life that they're seeking. But I think it's listening to the success stories of the other communities, and that there is hope that you know, yes, these obstacles are in front of all of us, but we can get past those obstacles by working together and by, you know, just being inspired by their stories. I mean, I think a lot of the speakers were inspirational, but it was seeing and hearing what is going on around the state, because the similarities are so great between a lot of our communities, and we're facing a lot of the same problems.
So well said, Jessica. Thank you. Mandy, do you have a comment? Looks like, yeah.
I would echo what Jessica said, and then just say that, like, it's not very often that we get kind of an infusion of new knowledge and new ideas. So the idea of having both the content and the ideas the same night really gives us something to think about outside of what's going on in our own block, and gives us a different view of the world. And so I think that kind of that's the magic sauce, is having both, and then the opportunity to talk about that in a community, in a group, together. So then those ideas really start forming and come, and the opportunity to come together more than once. So then, you know, on the drive home, that's when the good ideas happen. So then you can come back next week or next month.
That's great. So you said the knowledge and the new perspective. Are those the two things? Yeah. Thanks, Mandy. Jennifer, did you have a comment on that? What was it about the inspiration from other towns?
I'd have to agree with everything both Jessica and Mandy shared. Just echo what they have said. I think, and again, for Forsyth, it definitely was hearing Ben Winchester's information was a catalyst to really rethink how we saw our community. And then building upon that, hearing what the other communities were doing, and building that social network and building those relationships across the state only makes us all better. Because I think Jessica said it, we're all very similar, and we're all facing a lot of similar kinds of situations, and there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. So it's so awesome to be able to have a space where we can come together and just have a conversation with all of our communities, to just talk about, well, what are you doing and how is it working? Because like with us, I know what we did was we heard from Shoto, who was had done a rebranding for their community, which is fantastic. And then we contacted them after the fact and asked them. They joined a webinar that we had locally. So it was we then brought them to Forsyth, so to speak, to share what they were doing to our greater community, which was super helpful for moving our project along. So and I think that's what we had envisioned in the beginning, was creating a way. We were virtual before virtual was cool. So we were creating a way for a method to bring these communities together across Montana, because we knew that rural communities are ran on the backs of volunteers, and it's very difficult to get them to attend a live in-person conference. So, you know, that was our hope with the project. So it's great to see that that's what's happening.
Spot on. And Carrie Lewis, you're saving the day here. Yeah, we're talking about Shoto, Montana. They have an amazing, really great branding package that they put together. And then we had a question from Mandy, and you kind of answered that in the chat there. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit, Mandy?
Just the question about where we were going to host our family activities. We kind of had two ideas. One was we were kind of going off of the idea of like a college rec club. So we thought we'd have 2 or 3 planned, and then let the families that were coming take the leadership, or maybe a 4-H club, you know, where people plan the recreation, so we wouldn't get stagnant with just what we thought was fun. And so with Tanya owning the gym, we knew we could access some of that space for the appropriate activities. And then we have a church that was recently purchased by a local group and is pretty available for us with a great big space. And so then we were also interested in visiting with them about hosting some of the stuff there. And like I said, that just, we had to be flexible and recognize that wasn't the direction for us in the moment, but it's still all there. The opportunity is still right there. So.
Great. Thank you. All right. So now in our agenda, Jennifer and I will talk about the application process, but just go ahead if there's some more questions that you have for our panelists, our speakers today, just go ahead and put those in the chat, and I'll monitor that, and we'll bump into the boring application part of this to answer some interesting questions. Carrie Lewis is saying, I love that Mandy mentioned 4-H because that hits me, the importance of 4-H recreation. Kids need to grow up to be adults and who knows how to recreate, adults who know how to recreate and interact, etc. And Katie Weaver says, thanks for sharing. All right, I'm going to go into the application process right now. And it's really pretty, it's pretty straightforward, but we, all right. So what I've got here is our application. So we do have an application process, and part of the thinking behind that is that we, just one second. Part of the thinking of that is trying to make sure that communities are ready to apply and participate, because that's a big part of it. So our application process, our application is 3 pages long. This is the first page. Just on the down part here, I wanted to just show these are our dates: January 29th, February 12th, and February 26th. We're going to try it in the winter this year. We'll see how that goes. The early fall wasn't working for us anymore because people were just, after COVID, people were busy. Just a summary here on the benefits of participating. Each community that is accepted into the program gets $200 to defray the costs of their local event. They can use it however they want. We just send you a check and you use that to, if you want to buy food, if you want to pay for a room rental, whatever it is. We have coaching available as you plan your event. So basically that's me and Jennifer and Katie Weaver from our team. We can help you plan your event or, brainstorm ideas. We like to teach have some facilitator training, because the first part of the conversation is the presenter, the speaker that is zoomed out to you. The second part is a conversation, and we like to have, we require that you have a trained facilitator there, and that can be anybody in your community, and we train them over Zoom how to do that. And we give you all kinds of great marketing materials, and we give you we've got some data for you as well. Here's the first page of the part that you fill out. So it just asks you for your community. What's your name if you're filling it out? If you have a sponsoring organization, like maybe you have the chamber, or maybe it's a church, or you don't have to have a sponsoring organization, but some do. You can put that in there, and that might, sometimes a sponsoring organization is helpful to receive that $200. We do ask for your mailing address because we send you some stuff, so we need to have a place to send it, and we ask for your email. We're also asking for an organization committee, so just you and 2 other people. Just because we'll send you some information throughout, and we've had it in the past where we just had one contact, and then that one person, if they drop out or whatever, we want to have other people, because we work in the community too, so we know things change. Sometimes things happen, so we want to have 3 people on that, just so 3 people get all the information and know what's going on. Okay, here's the this is really the main question that we have in our application. How will Reimagining Rural benefit your community? Very briefly, you can handwrite this, share 4 or 5 sentences why you think your community would benefit from being a part of Reimagining Rural. What are your ideas or your vision for how participating could improve your community? What impact do you hope this has on your community and your community members? This is your opinion or your planning committee's opinion. And so you just write that in there. You can type it in, whatever you want to do. Okay, and then this is the other part where Jennifer was kind of referring to this earlier. We ask you to list out 10 organizations or individuals, people in your community that you might be able to reach out to get involved. So you don't have to ask their permission. You can just, here's the people that we think. This is sort of a way of assessing who might be involved in could be involved, and just makes you think about your community in a little bit more strategic way than we're trying to get out of the same 10 people that are running everything, trying to look a little bit broader and to get that diverse group, because like you heard the benefit of having a diverse group of folks. So list that out, who they are, tell us a little bit about them, what they might bring, and you don't have to ask them, you can just write that down. However, we are asking that you get a minimum of 3 signatures to just show that you have run this past a couple of other people. And this is all more about readiness. And that is it. Print it out, send it in, or you can email it too. Does anybody have any questions about the application itself? Any questions at all? Oh, and Sharon put the application, the link to the application she put in there. That's awesome. We don't have any questions about the application. It's pretty straightforward, but we do have that just so that we really are looking for folks to be ready. How many communities are chosen each round from Cassie Coburn? Well, we haven't ever had to turn anybody away at this point. So we don't have a set number right now of how many communities are chosen. Any other comments?
Tara, how many communities have participated so far?
Yeah, we've had 48 altogether participate so far.
And
I'm
sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, on average, what is the participation rate for the series? Like, how many communities do you get per series?
So the first year we had 24, the second year we had 22, I think. And then last year we had 16. And that's when we realized, okay, it's hard to have people organize this in the summer. So, around 20 is what we've had in the past. If we get past 25, that we might have to limit the participation. We'll see. Okay, and Jen Swanson is asking, how does the process differ for communities that have had a grant in the past? So, okay, so Reimagining Rural is not a grant program. Communities that have participated in the past have been eligible to receive a grant after they're all done and completed, and if they have had full participation in the program. The magic of this, as you can see from what people are saying, is really doesn't have anything to do with money. So, however, Montana Community Foundation, they're our partner in this. They are amazing and really helpful in making this happen. It was their idea to offer seed grants to communities that have made it through the whole program. And so we have been able to offer small grants, and they have been anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 per community. And not every community has applied that has participated. So, so we think that we're not sure if we're going to have as much money this year as we've had in the past. And that also depends on how many communities apply and participate. So, Jen, I'm not sure if that answered your question, but I'm glad you asked that question, because I do think some people think it's a grant program. It's really more of an educational program with a little benefit of, in the past 3 years, having a grant available.
Tara, but
Yeah.
you can apply if you received a grant last year. It's not like an assumption that you're done now, right? You can continue to reapply.
The grants are only available to the communities that participate in that year.
No, but like, so we got a grant last year, but we can do
Yeah.
Reimagining Rural this year.
Yeah, you absolutely can. Yeah, just like Forsyth, they've done it all 3 years. Harleton has done it 2 years 2 years. So yeah, absolutely. Yep. I hope I answered your question, Jess.
And
Jenny.
Tara, I would add into that. So this is Jennifer, and I would add into that as an example. Yes, because Forsyth did do it for all 3 years. The first session we received funding, the seed grant, and we used that for the newcomers event. The next two, we pooled those funds to work on the branding project. So it wasn't even like we came up with a new project each time. We are just continuing down this path of moving forward. And so we were able to just put those funds towards the existing project that we had already created.
Yes, that's yeah, great. Yeah. So every year that you apply and every year that you participate, if there is a grant available, then you do get to apply. There will be some grant funds. There may be a lot. We don't know because our partner is handles that for us, and that's Montana Community Foundation, and they are awesome. Okay, Tina Toyne is asking, how long is the application open? She'd like to get this to the people that need to apply. So the application process is open until December 15th. They're due, what do we say, 5 o'clock on December 15th. So you've got plenty of time and plenty of time to ask us questions. All right, I'm going to move on just a little bit. So we that organized this, and Mandy Reed was on the original planning committee, and Jennifer was also. We work in communities, and we know that most communities are going to be, this is going to be run in large part by volunteers. So we try to make it as easy as possible for you. So of course it's free for you to apply. And when you apply, and if you're accepted, which, you know, probably going to be accepted, we haven't turned anybody away yet. We are going to be able to give you this. We provide all the stuff that you need. We try to make it as turnkey as possible. So we provide you with some graphic images like this one. So if you apply, you can have this image and you can put this on your Facebook page, and we'll have some other ones that say, you know, where your event is and when it is and that. And then we also give you all sorts of other things to just make it really easy for you. So we provide promotional materials, including, you know, graphics that you can use on your social media. We do a statewide news release, so that gets picked up far and wide. So everybody across the state knows that you're part of Reimagining Rural. We have those Facebook and Instagram banners and graphics. We have a one-page flyer that you can fill in your specific details and post it all around town. We have an invitation letter if you like to send something out to folks that you know might want to participate or that you would like to have participate. We have that drafted for you, and you can just fill in your specific details. We also put together press releases that you can edit, that you can send out to your local media. Local press releases saying that you're selected, that here's our first night speaker, here's where the event is, here's our second night speaker, here's our third night speaker. We also have one if you're selected for a grant too. Try to make it easy. And then right before the first event, right when you're selected, we mail packets to you, so you have paper in hand, so you don't have to go print stuff out, because we know that can be hard to do. So this is all stuff that you would hand out your first night, an introduction letter, an agenda for that night, response cards, which is really our evaluation. It's all we have. It's got 3 questions. That's it. A facilitator guide for the person that's going to be facilitating the conversation, sign-in sheets, and some swag, a little bit of stickers and some fun stuff. So we send that to you hard copy. Then what we need from you is if you're selected, which, you know, to be selected if you apply, we need a W-9 because we got to send that $200 to you right away so you can use that to rent your building or order food or pay for advertising, whatever. So we need that right away because it's the check comes from the university. So, you know, wheels of bureaucracy run a little bit slow here. So as soon as we can, we'll get you a W-9 and we can just email that to you. And after each night, we really need that. We try to not ask much from you, but after each night, each of the 3 nights, we want to have your sign-in sheet and your response cards. So we know how the reaction was for your group and what people thought of it. So that's what we're going. Okay. Any questions or Jennifer or Mandy or Jessica, do you have any comments or anything you'd add to what I've got here? Great. I am looking. Tina says, thanks. 1 application per community. Yep. Okay, so Jessica Cole is saying 1 application per community. Yeah, it's really a community level program. So if multiple groups want to, I guess we ask them to come together as one group to work together for your community as a whole. So yeah. Jennifer, do you have any comments on that?
Sure. So I think the vision for this is to host one community gathering per community. So you're wanting to really do the groundwork and try to build those local relationships and bring people into the fold. And then you participate as a community simultaneously with 20 other communities across the state. So it really is a community-wide project. So you're trying to bring folks in together, build those relationships, have local conversations, and at the same time be having statewide conversations. So definitely one project, one community.
Okay, another question. Roger Hopkins from Columbia Falls is saying, are political organizations eligible or advisable with or without identifying any political organization, such as a county central committee? We've never had that. So I guess as long as you all understand trying to pull people from all over the community together to talk about the community as a whole, I can't see why we wouldn't. I don't know. Any comments on any past participants, Jennifer, Mandy, or Jessica? Nope.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't really have, I'm just thinking like, well, if that's the group in the community that pulls people together, then that would make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, every town is different. So whatever you think would work. Okay. Jen Swanson is asking, I guess my question was more about the application process. When you apply, do you build on previous work and or start new? Okay. So
Do you want me? I can.
Please.
Okay. I was going to say either or, because I think
Yeah.
you could do either or. So in Foresight's case, we're building upon, like, we came up with a branding project, and that came up in the 2nd series. So we started down that path when we did the 3rd series. However, I think if we had brought together, but that project had gotten feet and it was in motion. Had we brought together a different group of folks and they had this burning desire to take on something else, I think we could have went that direction too. So I think it's either or.
Yeah, great questions. Thank you so much for putting thoughtful questions out there. We're excited that you have such interest, and we're hopeful that we can, hopeful that you get involved. Yeah, awesome. Perfect, Katie. Perfect timing. Okay, so Katie Weaver is on the call, and Katie is a colleague with us at Extension, and she really focuses on community-based leadership programs, and she has this amazing opportunity, leadership training series that is exactly suited to people that are on the go, volunteer-oriented people, or even through your workplace. It is a series about how to run better meetings. It's free. The format is very quick and easy. It's 20 minutes on Tuesday morning, starting at the end of October. 20 minutes in the morning, so you can tune in before you get to work, or while you're at work, or after you get the kids off to school, whatever. It's free, and we have some really great speakers from all over the state because running effective meetings impacts everybody. Thank you so much for sharing that, Katie. I was about to go back and look for your link. Okay. I think that's all we have for the Reimagining Rural. I appreciate your questions. We are accepting applications until December 15th. It really does not take a lot of time to put together an application. So don't let that be daunting to you at all, but we do ask for a little bit of thought in that process, and those 3 signatures from people around your community. So we are running to the end of this webinar, and then also our Reimagining Rural Inspiration Hour series ends this is October, so we have 2 more months. In November, we're talking about engaging youth in your community. That's the topic of the next Inspiration Hour, and we'll send information out to all that registered. We'll send the recording for this. We'll send information that you need to know for applying for Reimagining Rural, and then a link for the next session in November, which is engaging youth in your community. Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate you coming. I'll hang on for another couple minutes if anybody has questions, but our panelists, we appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.